Oh, you made it. You're finally here. Welcome to the Half Cocktails, a place where we have a great time celebrating science, the social contract, and just plain old congeniality. Dare I say, a place where we seek a path to peace, prosperity, and exploration amongst the stars. I'm your friend and host, Dan, the worshiping Dionysus man, sipping on some science today with a dapper and dandy drink. With me today, bringing us a report on broccoli that has nutritionists losing their minds. The professor, Alex, how you doing today?
Oh my God, I'm not prepared for the broccoli article.
Yeah, it's a big one. You want to stick around to the end of the episode for that report on broccoli. Nutritionists losing their minds.
Oh my God, I better figure it out.
Got a really fun and informative show for you today. Brought to you by the Umbrella Corporation. We splice genes so you don't have to. Going to be talking about the origins of life on Earth, cetacean communications, the shady side of olive oil sales, and of course, we'll do some fact checking. And today we're going to take a quick look back at Lakota leader Sitting Bull, who was killed by police on December 15th, 1890. And of course, we do encourage you to reach out to us at halfcocktails@gmail.com, or maybe you want to text us or call us at 443-499-8253. But be careful. We will use your messages right here in this segment. And Alex, we did get an email from Kira in Tucson.
Oh, hell yeah. You going to read it?
I'm not going to read the whole email. It was very lovely message, talking about how much she loves the show, brings a lot of entertainment to her work days, and while she's studying, which is funny, I hope you're studying things that we're talking about. It might be a distraction, Kira. But believe it or not, she went to Flowing Wells High School, and we recently talked about the Flowing Wells Witch. I don't know. You weren't here for that, but apparently there was a teacher in the 70s that got fired for being a witch.
Oh my God.
Yeah, from Flowing Wells High School. And
at the stake or just regular fire?
just regular old losing her job. It was fun, pretty ridiculous. And Kira's saying that while she was in Flowing Wells Junior High and high school, it was known and talked about with the students and some of the teachers. And they had, everybody would try and come up with their favorite theory for what really went down and whether or not she was a witch. Kira, thanks for reaching out to the show. We're so glad that you're enjoying it. I know we have a great time doing the show. And feel free to reach out again. Always glad to hear from the people who are at home listening.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kira.
Yeah. But now I think it's time to hop in that time machine.
All right.
Nothing would be better than a look at days of yester in a time machine.
All right. So, Sitting Bull. What do you remember off the cuff about the Lakota chief Sitting Bull?
Honestly, I got absolutely nothing on that I could that I could stand by. Heard the name and no story off the top of my head.
Okay, all right. So Sitting Bull, born 1837, died December 15th, 1890. He was a Lakota leader. He led his people during many years of resistance against the U.S. government and their policies. He sadly was killed by that same government for some bullshit, which we'll eventually get to later. But let me fill in some background. He, we're talking, being born 1837, the Lakota Sioux. I mean, you're talking the Wild West, right?
Okay,
like that's the time frame of America. And
it's Southwest.
No, the Dakota Territory. So like North and South Dakota.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Just a little bit further west than Deadwood. To put it in perspective, I'm pretty sure the OK Corral happened right around the time he died, right? Wyatt Earp lived until 1929. So this is very much when, in the 50s, when kids were playing cowboys and Indians, he was one of the bad guys to the little kid.
Gotcha.
He grew up a warrior. Did lots of warrior stuff. From the time he was 14 years old, he accompanied his dad and other warriors in a raiding party, taking horses from the Crow. Like they were always obviously natives fought amongst themselves, not just against the United States, probably to their detriment. The most famous thing that that happened was before the Battle of Little Bighorn with Lieutenant Colonel Custer. He had a dream and a vision where he saw many soldiers as thick as grasshoppers falling upside down into the Lakota camp, which his people took as foreshadowing of a big victory. And they actually they had been gathering in a confederation with the Lakota tribes and the Northern Cheyenne tribes, and they very famously ended up defeating Lieutenant Colonel Custer on June 25th, 1876. They just annihilated him, and that whole instance itself is ripe for many hours of podcasting.
Okay, yeah.
But the short version is, from what I understand, Custer was getting political and he wanted to run for president.
Oh.
And he felt like one big victory before he went back to campaign would really seal the deal for him. So he took the 7th Cavalry kind of maverick cowboy on his own style, right? Like he just took them and was like, I'm just going to run. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to fuck them up and come back real quick. Like it wasn't well planned. They didn't have a lot of troops. Like I'm not denigrating Sitting Bull and the ferocity of their warriors. However, it is well known and understood that the United States government was, bigger and badder than the natives. That's just a fact.
We have some confirmation of that.
Yeah. The fact that coast to coast, it's all the United States government. Like I said, these are all topics that could be discussed for hours. I'm just glossing over them to give a little bit of the context of where Sitting Bull was in his life trajectory when things went down. He, of course, after annihilating Custer on the battlefield, the U.S. government sent thousands of more soldiers to the area, causing a lot of Lakotas to surrender. Sitting Bull refused, and he and his band went north and managed to elude the government from 1877 to 1881. And they did eventually come back and surrender. They by that time, he didn't get in. He wasn't put in prison or anything. He ended up going and performing with Buffalo Bill's Wild West show.
Interesting,
right? Interesting choice. I really like. All right. We've been fighting these wars. We're getting trounced. We're getting fucked over. I think I'd like to try my hand at theater. He eventually returned to South Dakota. And what was happening in the native environment was a thing called the ghost dance movement at the time. The ghost dance movement is fascinating to me. It was kind of started by this native guy who was, I can't pronounce it. He was Northern Paiute. He was a spiritual leader, and he created this idea of the ghost dance, which was a dance that would reshape and renew the world and wash away all the evil. To quote one of the natives, the Lakota interpretation, which that included the removal of all European Americans from their land. This is a quote from a native at the time called Lame Deer. They told the people they could dance a new world into being. There would be landslides, earthquakes, and big winds. Hills would pile up on each other. The earth would roll up like a carpet with all the white man's ugly things, the stinking new animals, sheep and pigs, the fences, the telegraph poles, the mines, the factories. Underneath would be the wonderful old new world as it had been before the white fat takers came. The white men will be rolled up, disappear, go back to their own continent. It was the original Make America Great Again.
Oh my God, yeah.
For sure.
Definitely had that vibe when you were describing it. I was like, go back to where you came from. Wow, we haven't heard that before.
Right? And this is just like 150 years ago, right? Like the brown people that lived here were like, get those white people home. Fuck those white people flooding over our borders, taking our resources, taking our jobs. So this was like a big spiritual movement, not limited to any one tribe. And they even had special clothing. They call them ghost shirts for the warriors to wear, and they were rumored to repel bullets through spiritual power. And it's uncertain where this belief originated. Some scholars point to 1890 chief named Kicking Bear introducing the concept, but there's another guy named James Mooney who thinks that they were ripping off the Mormon temple garments.
Excellent.
Which I can attest to right now. As a kid who was born and raised Mormon, they do teach that the secret sacred underwear it's got magic powers and it'll protect. I was actually taught in my seminary class. He told stories about Mormon missionaries getting shot at, and there were holes in their garments, but they didn't get hit by bullets. I was fucking told that as a child growing up in the Mormon church.
Amazing.
Which is one of the reasons why I'm reading this. I'm like, oh, yeah, awesome. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, people believe that. No, today, people believe that. It's not crazy they believed it then. Sitting Bull had nothing to do with the ghost dance movement, for the record.
Okay, noted.
But the government was terrified that he would join it because obviously he's a bit of a celebrity, bit of a success story to the natives. And they're like, oh shit, they'll really coalesce around this guy if he starts pushing it. So they sent some cops, they called Indian service agents, but for lack of a better term, it's basically the FBI of the 1890s, right? Which didn't exist yet. So they send these Indian service agents out to order his arrest. And in the obviously he was like, wait, you're going to arrest me for what? And he was like, no, I'm not going to get arrested. And then, so one of his buddies shoots one of the cops with a pistol, rifle or pistol, whatever, in the side. And they immediately shoot Sitting Bull, who did not shoot anybody.
Yeah.
Just like, somebody opened fire. Get him. Coming right for us. So sadly, he was shot in the side and in the head by Standing Rock policeman Lieutenant Bullhead, who was I think a native, and Red Tomahawk. So they were the police themselves were Native American, which is a bizarre twist. But I guess I shouldn't be too surprised looking at police violence on people today. He was taken to nearby Fort Yates for burial. And in 1953, his Lakota family exhumed the remains and reburied him in South Dakota near his place.
Oh, that's good. Wow. That's a wild ride.
And that's like the super abridged version. Fascinating to me that like he would have this vision and he would go public with it in his tribe, and then it like would come true. Like it came true. Was it self-fulfilling? Was it the universe talking to him? I don't know. These questions are best left up to theologians, philosophers.
Well, anyone who defeats Custer handily is definitely a friend in my book. My dad didn't have a whole lot of comprehensible political stances on things, but one of the things I definitely remember him saying was that Custer was a pile of dog shit.
Yeah. You start digging into him. It gets worse and worse. Like when I was a kid, he was just like, oh, he was the poor bastard who got killed at Little Bighorn. And then like, the more I've learned about him, I'm like, whoa, that bastard should have died a lot sooner. Yeah. And it was all for politics. The wildest thing to me is the fact that he toured with the Wild West show. But if you dig in a little bit deeper, there are rumors that he would use his speeches to push Native ideals and support. So it makes a little bit more sense when you realize like he was using that platform of that show to reach the people.
Yeah. Do you know what he did in the show? Just spoke?
He earned about $50 a week, which is the equivalent to about $1,600 today. So he made about $1,600 a week for riding once around whatever arena they were performing in.
Excellent.
Yeah. So he just do Hey, just do a ride around,
Do a lap.
Do a lap, say some stuff. People rumored he would curse you in Lakota if you went and saw him. But obviously, we don't have any records of that other than rumor. According to historian, reporter Michael Hiltzik, he claims that Sitting Bull declared in Lakota language, "I hate all white people. You are thieves and liars. You've taken away our land and made us outcasts." The translator, however, read the original address, which had been written as a gracious act of amity, and the audience, including the president at the time, Grant, was none the wiser. This was when Sitting Bull performed at the completion of the Northern Pacific Railway with the Buffalo Bill, and the actual president, Ulysses Grant, was there.
I can imagine the pursed lips clapping and nodding. Yes, yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. I can also imagine the translator being like, I'm not saying.
Well, it's funny. Well, hold on. So is this post 14th Amendment? Because I'm wondering if Sitting Bull would be, birthright citizenship, would have the right to run for president.
Yes. I don't know if the courts would rule that way, but the 14th Amendment was 1868.
Okay. So, I'm thinking to myself, that's some pretty, go back where you came from. You could definitely get some votes that way. We've seen it. Sitting Bull for president.
Sitting Bull for president. England's not sending their best people.
They're not sending their best people. Those are some bad. Oh man, I lost it. What do chaps? What do they call? What do British people call each other? Oh, bad blokes. That's good alliteration.
Some bad blokes. They're not sending their best. Rapists and murderers.
Bad blokes.
Damn Europeans. Oh man, yeah. So police violence, killing people since the dawn of the country.
Yeah, it was so apparent.
All because they were scared of him. He didn't even do anything.
Chomsky likes to call it the dangerous other, where we have a long history of identifying a dangerous other and using it to build political power.
Yeah, and I, for one, want that dangerous other to be the alien species that are amassing at the edge of our galaxy, come in and take our women and resources.
Yeah, I mean, the chances of an alien species being very dangerous are high, because it's probably going to be like an amoeba, and those things eat your brain.
Right. We like to imagine aliens as like this intelligent life in spaceships, but what if it's just a creature that isn't bothered by space, just shows up and it's like, oh, I'm just gonna eat all this. Oh, look, biological life. I love absorbing that. Tastes great. Less filling.
This is the topic of Andy Weir of The Martian's newest book, fiction.
Oh, really?
And it's a fun one called Project Hail Mary.
Project Hail Mary. All right. Well, I'll have to put a link to that in the episode description.
Big thumbs up
from
this camp.
Okay. But for now, I think we got to move on and talk about some news.
News.
It's time for some news from our point of view. We'd even be glad if we could have a laugh or two. It's time for some news.
All right. Well, I mean, it was a pretty good segue. Aliens coming, maybe coming to the planet. For the longest time, the theory of, hey, how did life get here on Earth? The prevailing theory, because we don't know, it has been that some things came in some asteroids after the Earth was kind of formed and been hanging out for a while. And those asteroids hit, and there was a bit of a chemical reaction that kind of jump-started it. They've actually, I think, in the last couple of years, managed to take some inert material and some electricity and kind of jazz it up. I'll have to look into where I read that. But for now, this story is about how a joint venture between University of Tennessee and the University of Science and Technology of China has come out. And their study is claiming that the Earth itself had all of these elements from when it was created.
Okay.
So the crucial ingredients for life: sulfur, nitrogen, and the like.
CHON. I remember the acronym CHONPS.
Chumps.
Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur.
There you go. There you go.
Undergraduate education.
Brett, college. You learn stuff. Who knew?
I learned a thing.
A thing. So the shorthand for these elements, they call them volatiles, and they're saying they existed from the formation of Earth. They evaporate more readily than other elements, like you said, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen. This research focused on the specific group called chalcogens, such as like sulfur, selenium, and tellurium. They're all chalcogens. They also, using AI, like what science breakthrough isn't using AI these days? They're able to look at how the isotopes in these substances behave, and the behavior of these isotopes act as a signature for what stage of the Earth's formation they were created in.
Interesting.
And they're saying that they're finding these elements, and they're like, no, this look at the isotope signature. This is from this stage of the Earth, because we know how the Earth formed with the the star and spinning out elements, and it's starts out molten hot, and then it kind of cools slowly. And I mean, we're still technically in that cooling stage, right? Our core is still liquid hot, whether the crust is not. But over the course of millions and millions and millions and millions of years, eventually the Earth's going to be a big ball of ice. Like that's inevitable. But this is wildly fascinating to me, because this is the first time I've come across anybody that was like, Earth might have just been the source of life. Like it might not have come from anywhere else.
I guess I never knew either of those theories. I guess it had never come up for me whether the life came from. I mean, an asteroid. What kind of asteroid? An asteroid from the original big cloud of neutron. Let's see. It's not a neutron. So post supernova, you've got a kind of a cloudy star that hasn't started fusing yet. The nebula. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of asteroids swirling around in that. Or did they think it was something from somewhere else? And even if then what? Like it's still star stuff.
Yes. The thinking was, it was other star stuff from an asteroid that hit us. Because some of these elements make up, I want to say, those volatile elements. It's some stupid small percentage of the elements on Earth, and that's why that was part of the reason why the original theory was that it came from somewhere else.
Gotcha.
The study is called abiogenesis. Biogenesis with an A on the front. Abiogenesis. Mm-hmm. The simple explanation is that these inert materials were naturally formed into some rudimentary RNA shaped stuff, and that's what led to a chemical reaction that started that first ball of life. And thanks to evolution, we are the unbroken chain, right? Every animal, everything alive today is the unbroken chain all the way back, right? So the religions that proffer we're all the same being, I'm like, no, there's actually, I think there's something scientific to that. We are. I mean, we're just experiencing the same creature and being experiencing itself all over.
Wait a second. We need to fight over how much time elapsed.
That's right.
Because it's really important that we hate each other. So let's just fight over how much time, which is amazing because the Bible doesn't have units.
No, it has cubits. It's got cubits for when you're making an arc.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you remember the Scopes trial quip of we don't know how long a day was before the sun.
Right. Oh, that's the kind of Mormon shit that was pushed on me was like, oh no, like a day to God is like thousands of years to us. So in the Bible, when they're like God created the earth on the whatever day, like that was thousands of years, that day. Yeah, because that's what God did when he was dictating that Bible to a guy. He was like, hey, it took me 7 days. What's a day? Don't worry about it.
Well, I gotta tell you, the Mormons, a lot of problems. But one point in their favor for me is like their ability to accept psychedelic shit like evolution. Like, yeah, man, the days before the sun.
They certainly have a unique perspective on their Christianity. Put it that way.
I mean, when you start with a shyster who's just like, now how can I turn this Christianity into a harem?
Right. We should do. There have been a million. You can go out and find them, but we maybe one of these snake oil sections. We'll talk about old Joe Smith and how he got his start.
I cannot wait. Do not let me not be on the Joe Smith show.
Okay.
You are literally the person I want to talk to about Joseph Smith more, and the person who knows more real, actual history about this guy than anyone ever. I'm always telling people about crazy shit Mormons believe that I heard from you.
Yeah. Right. And there might be some Mormons listening to this, and please get help. They've got this crazy plausible deniability where like you go to church. Like I went to that seminary class, and that teacher told that story about those missionaries, right? No, there's never any names. There's never any like photos. There's never any documentation. It's just like, no, this happened to these missionaries. They're not writing this shit down. This is all verbal, right? Like this stuff gets passed from Mormon to Mormon in the hallways between classes.
Ugh.
This is the stuff that doesn't hit the public canon. But my father actually coined the term faith promoting rumors when I was a kid. Because
wow.
Because some Mormons told such outlandish shit that I'd come home and I'd be like, Dad, Mom, so-and-so said that when he got the fucking blessing, they told him that he was going to be a big prophet and he was going to die and be brought back to life. And they'd be like, okay, no, that didn't happen. Your friend Billy did not get told he was going to die and come back to life. That's a rumor. That's a really crude, grotesque one. But I have spent a lot of money in drugs trying to forget my Mormon days. But anyway, you will definitely be on that show, my friend.
Fabulous.
Anyway, the next story you may be familiar with. Scientists have reported a huge leap in understanding whale language, cetacean communication. They again using some AI that kind of tipped them in the right direction. They took these hundreds and hundreds of recordings from 2014 to 2018. Sorry, 3,948 of them. So thousands of recordings of whales talking or making sound, and analyze them, and also put that data into the AI. And the AI was able to not only point out like, oh, these clicks, but other acoustic properties. So they've now shown the spectral properties in the clicks that operate as vowels.
Whoa.
They've got two specific vowels they've identified, and they reliably exchange these codas that have one or two of these formants. They peak just below the 10 kilohertz sound range, and they're calling those codas vowels. There's a single formant and two formant, and they also, it looks like they have diphthongs. So like the word coin, where you bring one vowel to another, like they've got that as well.
Yeah. Wow. And then that differs from like we're kind of using vowel as like because we have vowels yeah. and consonants.
Yeah.
Vowels being like let's see, how would I put this? Like the shape of the longer sounds, and the consonants being like how do we articulate them? How do we like flap them and trill them and like manipulate those longer sounds into
I
other shorter sounds within sounds. Does that sound right to you?
That does sound right to me. The simplified way that I would try to explain it to like my niece or nephew would be like your dog could make a vowel sound, but can't make the consonant.
Oh man, that's okay. That's fun.
Oh, thank you.
I got a little lost in there because I know dogs can make like R. They can round the front of their mouth. They have the muscles. I know this just because our dog will like threaten to bark, and she'll start rounding her mouth forward.
She's like projecting it, like I'm gonna do it.
Don't make me do this.
Do not make me yell at you.
Ovicularis oris.
Ovicularis oris.
That's what you need to make a rounded lips ooh. So that if they have vowels, then that means that they have consonants too, right?
Well, we already know they got the clicks.
We already knew that.
They got the clicks, which would be analogous to the consonant.
So it means there's a system, like a tree-like system in the sounds that they can make, as far as complexity goes. A certain type of sound, and then a certain way of modifying that sound.
Yes. The authors of the paper made the example of vocal tones in Mandarin. Changing the tone of an otherwise identical syllable changes the meaning, and that's the analogy with what they're now finding in whale speak. I hope one day that we crack it. I hope it happens soon, and I hope that whales are like really vain, petty fuckers. I just think that'd be hilarious.
When I think about animal communication, language, I guess I just sort of wonder why we don't. And I, by the way, my stance, I'll presuppose this with my stance on this topic, which is like, I think the thing we have, like linguists will like hold it real tight to their chest and say that only we have this thing called language.
Yeah.
And I just think that words don't really have denotations, so you can stretch any word to mean a lot of things.
Yeah.
And so I don't really hold that tight to language. I think human language is unique, and that the systems in it, some of them are unique to humans and some of them aren't. And so we share them with other species. And then other species have unique things in their communication systems that we don't have, like pheromone exchange. We don't have a zombie smell. Like if we think someone's dead by how they smell, we're not going to keep taking them back to the graveyard like the ants do.
No. You're dead. Go over here. You go over here now. I can smell it on you. Shut your trap.
She's dead. So, like, I'm not tightly clinging to that. That being said, like, I think it would be very exciting to get a chance to talk to other creatures, more so than we do. Like, we are able to communicate a whole bunch of stuff to a whole bunch of other animals, especially through morphological systems, right? Like words. We haven't yet like met anybody who can seem to get back and forth communication with us when it comes to all 5 systems, and syntax is a real sticking point.
Yeah.
The question that sort of comes to my head, so there's where I'm at on that. But to say it's not language, I think it's just like, who cares if it's language or not language? It's just different than what we do.
Yeah, right. It's that species communication. I would also I would posit that the Neanderthals and the Denisovans we had the same language skills, and then we just had a bunch of sex with them until we're all one species.
We definitely have a ton of Neanderthal genes, which I know you know that because you've seen Robin Williams.
Yeah, and I've met a few redheads.
Yeah,
I love redheads.
Now my question is like, I don't think language or human language is an invention that a reasonably intelligent species could just learn. I think it's genetic. And my question would be like, why, if we could talk to those other animals and have like conversations and like share ideas with them, and
yeah, like we are now,
then why don't we, or why haven't we yet?
Why haven't we already? That's an interesting point. I think circle back around to the point you made before that question, like maybe we're the ones being obtuse.
Go on.
Lately, there's been this giant uptick in orcas attacking ships and boats.
Mhm.
That, to me, could be a very clear communication that they're sick of our presence in the ocean and what we're doing to the ocean.
Go back where you came from. It's the orcas. Thought it was going to be the First Nations. It's the orcas.
Moga, make the ocean great again.
We should have seen it on their social media. We really should have seen this bubbling up.
I haven't been on Whale Book lately, so I missed all those posts.
Whale Book isn't what it used to be. It's all porn now.
It's all porn now. You've seen one blowhole. You've seen them all. All right. Let's move on before we run out of time. Let's talk a little bit of snake oil.
Oh, snake oil on sale for me. Nothing but snake oil, and it ain't free.
Okay, I was unable to resist this story for the snake oil story because it involves actual oil for sale. Extra virgin olive oil getting more expensive, might not even be real. You got to be fucking careful because they just busted a giant criminal enterprise that taking olive oil from Italy, Spain, and Greece. And, well, I should say not taking, but I should say putting out olive oil supposedly from Spain, Italy, and Greece that was, in fact, adulterated oil, unfit for consumption.
Okay.
They seized 200. They seized 260,000 liters because there's such a big demand for olive oil, right? But there's only so many olive trees, but all over the world, people want olive oil. So they've been mixing olive oil byproducts with other oils like sunflower oil and canola oil, or even lamp oil.
Oh.
Yeah, like just if they can get it to smell like it and look like it, they'll bottle it and sell it as olive oil. And these are just the ones they caught. It's making me really suspicious.
Yeah.
They've been using chlorophyll and beta carotene to color it, to give it the green or in yellow hues.
Oh, chlorophyll. Tree blood.
Good old tree blood. Which it's wild. Like at the dollar store, I remember finding like olive oil, and you look, and it's like a blend of olive oil and canola oil, right? Like, okay, that's just why it's so cheap. And some of what they're doing is exactly that. They're just taking olive oil, like, oh, we'll take a liter of olive oil and 3 liters of canola oil, mix it together, and we sell it all as olive oil.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the problems is the oil production is down. There was an extremely wet spring in the Mediterranean, and the olive trees flowered less. The record-setting heat in the summer shriveled the olives that did grow. So thanks to climate change, we have less olives.
Yeah.
So even though they planted a fuck ton of olives, because everybody knows olive oil fucking sells, and it sells for good money, almost half of the olive oil production was killed by the climate. And so that's why we're seeing this big uptick in the fake olive oil racket. So be careful. In fact, it's actually got me considering switching to different oils for my cooking needs.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of is like if you've got a decent thermometer, you can test the smoke point. If you're really dying to figure out like, is this olive oil or is this mixed with something else? Because it's going to have a different smoke point.
Great point.
Also, this has been happening with honey for years, and I'd say most of the like honey. When I think of honey, I think of a different thing that's actually honey syrup. And it's mostly rice syrup, actually, and a little bit of honey to make it taste like honey. And I'm like totally fine with it.
Wait, the thing in the bear?
Yeah, in the bear.
The cute plastic bear? You're telling me that's rice sugar?
Yeah, and a little honey.
I had a suspicion when my wife bought some honey. It was like fancy honey that not in a plastic bear, and I opened it up and I was like, wow, the viscosity and consistency of this it's not so uniform like the stuff that comes out of that bear.
Yeah.
When I squeeze it. You don't have to filter honey, people. Like it's naturally clean.
Such a naturally good product.
Yeah, yeah. No, nothing will grow in it that will hurt you. Is that weird? It's so fucking crazy to me.
Yeah. The olive oil, I would be fine. I was fine with it until you said lamp oil. Like, if I had olive oil mixed with cottonseed oil, fine. Like I'm totally 100% fine with that. It's going to do what I want it to do.
You're just overpaying for it.
Yeah, I'm overpaying for it. That's a great point. I really should buy less olive oil. Honestly, I should buy the little one or whatever and then mix it with canola oil.
It's not a bad way to go. I honestly, about a month ago, when I was reading about what was happening with olives, the olive industry, I went to Costco and I bought like 4 big. I bought like 12 liters of olive oil.
There you go. And that's probably California, so you don't have to worry about like them saying like Kirkland.
No.
Kirkland is never like the fancy kind. They're like, no, the more kind.
Kirkland, no, it says it's Spanish, so now I'm scared.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually thinking about checking the heating point.
What is lamp oil? Is it blubber? Whale blubber?
That's a good question.
Kerosene? Are we eating kerosene?
Lamp oil is paraffin oil.
Paraffin. Well, what's that? What's paraffin? Is that a penguin? Is it a puffin? Puffin oil.
Liquid paraffin oil, or Russian mineral oil, is a very highly refined mineral oil used in cosmetics and medicine.
Do we eat it?
I think it's like an old school laxative.
Laxative. Okay. Well, now maybe I will. Maybe I will eat it.
Yeah. I don't get enough fiber. They also have used it. It's like hydrating on your skin, so it's used in cosmetics and skin and hair products. But I do wonder about its flammable point. What do they call that?
Smoke point.
Yeah, it's smoke point. It's got to be lower than olive oil, right? If it's used as fuel. Anyhow, that's the snake oil. It's olive oil today.
It's olives.
All right, let's do some quick fact checking.
Fact checks.
Here we go, what do you know? It's fact checking time. Will you believe or be deceived? It's fact checking time. Cross my heart and hope to die. Stick a needle in my eye. Here's the quiz that all the kids call fact checking time.
All right, I've kind of mixed up the format for fact checking time a little bit. We're going to try something new this week. I will admit it gets really, really hard to find fact checking out there where it's true for whatever reason. And I don't know if that speaks to the fact checking websites or what we as people click on and want to read, but it does not seem like it should be. There's enough pundits and journalists and politicians and influencers and social media posts that some of them are true, right? Okay, they can't all be false. Like, why are these fact checks false? Anyway, because of that, I've decided that I'm going to take 3 fact check stories and 3 real facts that I have come across, and I'm going to see. You have to guess which one is the real fact checked false one, and which one is the actual true thing that I'm making sound like a false fact check story.
Okay, got it.
Okay, and we'll just do A or B. Story A: Crisco was invented for use as a submarine lubricant. An online rumor, social media, saying German scientists invented Crisco shortening in 1901 for use as a submarine lubricant.
Submarine lubricant. Okay.
Or a Twitter X post saying that Oxford University is older than the Aztecs.
Okay. Oxford University, older than the Aztecs. Hold on. I know Oxford. I know some of those old universities are more than 1,000 years old. That's how far the university system goes back. Aztecs were hanging around when Cortez was there, so that's the Renaissance. That's the 1600s. I would be
nice. I'm digging this. I'm digging this thought chain.
Yeah, I'm actually
content. Yeah,
but I don't know about this Crisco. When you say Twitter X, my first thought is fake. My brain is just like, that's where the bullshit comes from. So Oh man, this is tough because I know universities to be really old, and that would be a fun if true. So like my brain is saying like I want that one to be the true one, older than the Aztecs. But I don't know how long the Aztecs were around off the top of my
Mm-hmm.
head. I
Mm-hmm.
know they're kind of young, actually. So
Ooh, are they now?
I know it would be close-ish. Yeah. Because I know like people hanging out on the continent is old. We got like 12,000 years. But as far as the um, ancient civs, the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Aztecs are the youngest. I'm just going to go with that one. It's more a fun answer. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Oxford is older than the Aztecs is true.
Woo!
Oxford, founded in 1096, the year 1096. The Aztec Empire was about 1300 to 1520.
Excellent. Wow, that's fun. That's made my brain tickle.
Right? You worked through it pretty well. I really like that. Crisco, while it did come out as a brand, it was launched in 1911. There is absolutely zero evidence that it was commissioned by the German Navy. It was a German chemist named Wilhelm Norman sold his patent to Procter and Gamble. So this is the guy that invented hydrogenation.
That guy. Partially hydrogenated vegetable oil.
Yep. Came out over 100 years ago, but not for submarine.
That's interesting too, because I know like submarines were starting to be talked about right around that time, right? Because we didn't have them in the Civil War. Not really, torpedoes and stuff.
We had the rudimentary beginnings of a submarine.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the Monitor or the Merrimack?
That I can't say. I just remember Nutritionists coming around in World War One. So 3 years after Crisco.
So the next one is a claim on social media that fashion company Dwyer has replaced Bella Hadid with an Israeli model because of Bella Hadid's pro-Palestinian views, or that the largest living organism is a fungus in Oregon.
Fungus in Oregon. Well, I thought the biggest like organism was like a bunch of trees, like a forest, and then they were like connected to each other underground, and they started from like a seed, and it's in Russia. This is a little on the vague side. This is what happens when you don't have a computer in front of yourself and you try to wax. So I want to say I feel like very strongly that that's bigger than a fungus in Oregon, and I want that to be the biggest thing. And if it's not, that's fine.
So you're saying Bella Hadid lost her job for being too pro-Palestinian?
Yes, I believe that, but only because I think that there's a tree bigger than a fungus.
Has nothing to do with Bella Hadid. No, they're actually the fungus is the world's largest living organism.
All right,
it is under the Blue Mountains of Oregon.
Yeah, sorry, Bella. That's on me.
Yeah, sorry, Bella. You get to keep your job.
No, but for the libel, or what is it called, slander, because I said it out loud.
Yeah. The last one we're going to do is a leading presidential candidate has claimed he would be a dictator on day one, or Elon Musk is promising to give away 10,000 silver bars to dodge a tax bill.
Well, it's too bad, but I know for a fact that Donald Trump said that just on day one.
Look, Alex, I'm only going to make you be my slave for a day. Put the collar on. I'll let you out tomorrow. Come on, man. You can trust me. What the fuck?
It also seems, I mean, I don't know. I do know that it was a joke, but I also know that you kind of aren't supposed to joke about that on the campaign trail. And for everyone else, that you lose some political points for saying that you're going to be a dictator. But not for that guy.
Did you watch the interview?
I heard the audio.
The look on his face does not say joke.
My understanding was like that he had said it before, and then Hannity was like, I'm going to give you a chance, was thinking to himself, I'm going to give you a chance to like clear this up, and that he kind of doubled down, and that is of concern.
Watch the video. Either he is a master of deadpan or he's being serious. I'm going to take him serious.
I mean, I'm taking it seriously too. Like people, that kind of joking is worth some pause, because there's everybody else. I don't want to say everybody else, but I'd say a vast majority of people don't play with fire on that topic, and there's nothing he won't say, there's nothing he won't do, and be loved for it. It's terrifying.
Anyway, you know what? Yeah, we got to get through something feel good right now, because that's just
Feel good news. It's a perfect timing.
A call for a sip, maybe even a hit, and join us for half-cocked feel good. And join us for half-cocked feel goods.
hey, if you're out there listening to this show and you've got Alzheimer's, you might not have to listen to it twice anymore. Researchers have found that a twice daily current stimulation session, about 20 minutes each, improves the memory and overall cognitive performance of older people living with Alzheimer's. They're using a they're using a technology called transcranial direct current stimulation. They think they can also use it as a treatment to just improve brain plasticity in Alzheimer's sufferers by helping them form new neural networks.
Wow.
Alzheimer's being the decay of your existing neural network. So yeah, they got a device. It's got 2 electrodes. They put it over a specific part of the head, and it just transmits a constant low intensity electrical current through the brain.
Like Scientology.
Exactly.
Oh man, that's why they say that a Scientologist never forgets.
The rest of the world is finally catching up to the Scientologists. Yeah, that's right. That's what's happening.
That's what it is.
And they're even trying it to treat depression. They supposedly
well, I gotta tell you,
yes.
A 20-minute stimulation session is really good for my depression.
Yeah, you like that low current, like it low and slow. They're using a similar method. They're even to get paralyzed limbs back into motion.
Holy shit!
Yeah, this is like a big deal. The researchers from China recruited 140 people with mild to moderate Alzheimer's and randomly allocated whether they would receive the sessions with the low intensity, a sham version, to provide the control, and then of course the control group of neither. And they all the participants over 65 and had Alzheimer's for longer than 6 months. They did the treatment for 6 weeks, and they showed that after 2 weeks, they'd already significantly improved the cognitive function of the people receiving the real treatment, particularly their word recall, the recall of test instructions, and word recognition. Obviously, nothing in the control group. Great news for Alzheimer's. Anytime, most of these feel-good stories end up being healthcare technology development, because sadly the world is a dangerous place after 3 a.m. It's not a friendly neighborhood. Anyhow, that's going to bring us to the end of the episode, folks. Thanks for sticking around. We sure do love that you're here having a good time with us. We will be back at you soon. I'd like to give a special thank you to our sponsor, Umbrella Corporation, putting the U in eugenics. Like to give a shout out to science, congeniality, and the social contract, making society better than anarchy for many of the last thousands of years. And, well, Mr. Professor, any parting wisdom for the folks listening today?
Oh, my goodness. I really should have been thinking about that instead of getting my charging cord.
Yeah, you son of a bitch.
No, I got nothing for you. Just keep on keeping on. Congeniality, like that one.
Wonderful, wonderful. Like, rate, share, subscribe. You know, all the fun stuff to do. Come join us over on Discord. I might have all those news links up before the recording airs, so you can know what the fuck we're talking about. Does that make it less cool? I don't know. You choose. It's your life. It's your adventure. We'll be back at you soon. Till then, have a great day.
Now things are ending, it's time to go. No more to get through, thanks for listening, that's our show. Ain't affectation, we're just leaving you half-cocked. Half-cocked. We had a good time talking today, but even best times eventually they fade away. Ain't adjuration, we're just leaving half-cocked.